Good morning, or depending when you're listening to this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today I'm showing you another game that I recorded live at a local league challenge. This one comes from Athena Games in Norwich, a truly lovely venue. Those in the UK should check it out immediately, if not sooner. And it happened in October of 2015 in the standard format, which means we are using any cards from the X and Y set all the way through to and including Ancient Origins. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so on the left we have got John Riches, and he is going to be playing Banette Seismitoad. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I told you in the last game there was a Shuppet. I was confused because I've seen a bunch of Shuppets lately, but that's alright. This game, it's got Shuppets, and it evolves into Banette. On the right, we have Alex Pike. He is a lovely chap. He is a Groudon player, and I know he's a lovely chap because I played him later on in this very same tournament. Yay! So, the whole point of the Groudon deck, we've seen it before, it's a well-known deck. The Banette deck revolves around this attack, Evolution Jammer, and it's nice and simple. For 1 Psychic Energy, it does 20 damage, and it stops you playing any evolutions from your hand the following turn, which means there ain't going to be very much Primal Groudon going on this game, because you can't evolve Primal Groudon after Banette has attacked. Of course, one thing to remember is that Banette, now it has got a resistance to fighting, but it's still only got 90 HP. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game goes. It's very simple that John is going to be trying to use Evolution Jammer, trying to stop Alex evolving his Groudon to Primal Groudon, but also doing enough damage, which is going to be a problem. Alex doesn't necessarily need the Primal here. He can be doing, I think it's 130 damage for 4 energy, which is going to get 1-hit KOs on the non-Primal. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. So we see a Seismitoad straight away from John here. Not the ideal starter here, because of course Seismitoad doesn't do very much against Groudon, and Groudon can happily just smash and 1-hit KO the Seismitoad. Now, one side note here, Banette is only when you evolve from your hand, so if you were to use something like Evo Soda or Wally, it would get round the attack. Of course, let's not forget that Alex's only evolution here is going to be Primal Groudon, which is not a stage 1, so there's no Evo Soda or Wally shenanigans going on here. But he's got the Groudon, he's got the Spirit Link, he's got the energy, and he's got an Ultra Ball, getting rid of a Birch and an Enhanced Hammer. Which does make sense because, you know, the chances are that John is either going to be using Psychic Energy on Shuppet / Banette, or he's going to be using Double Colourless on Seismitoad, at which point he'll be blocking trainers and Enhanced Hammer can't be played anyway. Don't forget, as from the previous video, that Shuppet, for 1 Psychic Energy, does 20 damage. No, it doesn't, sorry. It discards an energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. So, I mean, the advantage here really is with Alex. What Alex is going to want to do is try and take advantage. I mean, either just leave the... Oh, and there we go. We've got the VS Seeker for the Birch. He's basically got 2 choices here. He can just manually attach to the Groudon, or he can use the non-EX Landorus to start building it up and then attack with the Groudon. Now, he's got next turn to potentially evolve to Primal Groudon, assuming that John doesn't see a Wally here, because if John sees a Wally, he can get a turn 1 Banette. I say he needs a Wally, he doesn't need a Wally. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that Banette has the Delta Evolution Ancient trait, which means you can evolve straight away on turn 1. So there goes the Shuppet. If he can drop Banette and Psychic Energy and a switch, he is going to be able to get this going turn 1. But I don't really know how he wins this game, because the problem is Groudon EX for 2 energy can do 30 damage and on a coin flip discard an energy. Now, admittedly, Banette is resistant to the Groudon, but you can sit there doing kind of 10 damage and discarding energy, and then as soon as you've got 4 energy on you, you're 1-hit KOing Banette, because even with the resistance you're doing 110, which is more than 90, and then, you know, by the time you've finished taking down the Banettes, you can just 1-hit KO the Seismitoad. And, oh, there's a Team Flare Grunt. That's very, very interesting. Because, of course, once Alex gets energy on here, he's basically won the game. Oh, now here is a very interesting turn. Because John didn't manage to get the... John didn't get the Banette attacking, which means that Alex does have a turn here, potentially, of using the Groudon. The big question is going to be whether he can evolve the Groudon, and the next question is whether he had a switch. Ooh, that Mega Turbo is very interesting. But now he's got a Groudon stuck in the active, and, you know, he's got 1 energy attached, so John can just sit there doing 50 damage every turn. To this Primal Groudon and potentially killing it. Now, one reason why you wouldn't necessarily want to use a Non-EX Landorus, let's not forget it has got a weakness to water, so it won't quite be one-hit KO'd by the Seismitoad, but it will have 100 damage and be left with 10 HP, which is, shall we say, far from ideal. It means it can be knocked out by a Banette and start Evolution Jammer off. Disappointingly, of course, for John, not only did he not get the Banette, he also didn't get the double colourless energy, so he's not done any actual damage, and we saw a Tails from the Birch there, so he only got to draw 4 cards. He has got an energy, which of course was the most important thing for him this turn, so he's got 2 energy on there, but he can't attack because, I mean, you know, there is the stadium that allows you to use, I think, Memory Garden or something along those lines. But you need that in play to be able to use the pre-evolutions attack, and he doesn't have it in play right now, unfortunately. So, yeah, all this is not pretty at all, because John has just passed again. He's got no energy. Right, now what? And Alex needs energy here, so presumably he's going to play the Corinna. He's going to use it to search for probably a second Groudon and a... he'll be wanting to get a Professor's Letter here to get another 2 energy so that he can just attach an energy this turn, an energy next turn, and he's off. I don't think he's got any energy in the discard which would fuel a Mega Turbo, but I'm not entirely sure right now. So not the best game from John, and that's annoying. John's got a fun little deck here. Now, against something like a Vespiquen, or indeed, and there we go, he's gone for the Groudon and the Professor's Letter. The thing about, you know, I was playing Mind Chow at this particular tournament, and as soon as he attacks with Banette, I lose. I can't evolve Mind Chow, and I can't attack with Horlucha against the non-EX. So I lose that game straight away. Similarly, if he comes across Vespiquen, he just sits there and wins almost automatically. But then you come across other decks like this, and you're just not dealing enough damage. Weirdly, it can be competitive against Lucario Bats. It's only doing 20 damage with a Muscle Bandit's 40. Remember, Lucario's weak to Psychic, so it would do 80. And he resists fighting, and he stops the Bats evolving as well to do the extra damage. So it's got some pretty good matchups. But then a lot of stuff, especially these Mega EX decks, you know, think of Manectric. Well, Manectric doesn't need the Mega to start streaming KOs. Rayquaza doesn't need the Mega to start streaming KOs. So it's not the worst thing ever. Now, it looks like Alex has finally got 4 energy on there. He needs a Stadium, because remember, he's not... oh, there's the Stadium, which means he's doing 200. And unless John draws into something this turn... Oh, and that's it. He draws into a double colourless energy just a turn too late. Not the most competitive game, I'm afraid. Feel free to moan in the comments. I encourage you to do so. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, when I haven't done PTCGO videos for a while. When I did, I could happily sit there and play a bunch of games and wait till I got a good one. These are games played at proper tournaments which are better than PTCGO. These aren't people going out and going, hey, will this work? These are decks that have been tested at League and people have taken out thinking that they're good decks. People are on their best in tournaments, which is why I'm focusing tournament games, not PTCGO. Unfortunately, it means that occasionally we'll get slightly shorter games. But in that video, I still got to explain to you all about the Banette deck, so if nothing else, I think it was worth it just for that. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'll be back with round 3 very shortly. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.